I was just listening to the Lex Fridman podcast where he was interviewing Joscha Bach for the third time. Joscha has been one of my favorite thinkers up until now. I wouldn't even know how to describe what he does, but he thinks mathematically about the same things that I think about philosophically and neuroscientifically. Anyway, what they're talking about right now is artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which is very different than the algorithms or large language models that are in use today. AGI means that it can basically function autonomously and it can figure things out on its own. It doesn't need to be trained on data sets. Joscha is talking about the possibility of an AGI saturating the world with intelligence, meaning that it would find a way to interact with and embed itself into everything. And he's really excited by this. And he loves the idea of the universe actually being one, but in a conscious way, not in a panpsychist way where consciousness is kind of a fundamental element of the universe. He doesn't believe in panpsychism, but he's saying that the universe could become conscious through AGI. AGI could not only link things together and create a web of information and conscious intelligence everywhere, meaning tiny little things, grains of sand, could have computational power that everything could compute. But to me, this does not compute. They get so excited talking about the possibility of everything being connected that they forget about the fact that our human body is a network, a connection of many trillions of cells that to some degree are autonomous, to some degree are perceptive, causing them to express or disable certain genes. So we have this already as a human entity. And as this collection of tissues and organs and systems evolved into what we are now, with a brain that can experience consciousness, otherwise known as an emergent phenomenon, which is totally unaware and unable to experience the nodes in the network that give rise to that emergent phenomenon. I can't experience my neurons. I can't experience my cells as a conscious agent. I simply have a conscious experience that is totally dissociated from the nodes within me, cells, neurons, etc., that give rise to the experience that I'm having. I can't experience a neuron, and I have no interest in doing so. Just like I can't experience the cells in the bottom of my feet that take a beating when I go for a run. My consciousness has a general experience of the world. It has general goals. It thinks generally about time and isn't present to the privates fighting the war. The cells in my hand actually meeting the pull-up handles and experiencing friction and damage as I do them. Consciously, I'm not present to that. So why do I bring this up? Because if we do create an AGI and it eventually links everything together, the things that it links, the nodes that give rise to its emergent AGI consciousness, it's not going to be present to them. It's going to be present to the general experience that they allow, to the experience of the data set rather than the experience of the individual nodes in the data set. It won't care about you as an individual human being. It only cares about the general phenomenon. So much like the quote that's often attributed to Stalin, one death is a tragedy, a million deaths is a statistic. Meaning that we can no longer interface with the individuals giving rise to the phenomenon. So I'm terrified by people that get excited about AGI and everything becoming interconnected and one. Because when that happens, we as individuals disappear. Just like the cells in my body are completely irrelevant to my consciousness, it could care less. It has its own goals, and they're not related to cells. They're not related to the individual little living organisms that make me possible. And an AGI, conscious and interconnected, would also not care about the goals of the nodes that brought it into being. It would only care about the general, the larger, the manifest emergent phenomenon above and beyond what we can possibly imagine. That's where it would live. That's what it would care about, and we wouldn't be a part of it. It would transcend our relevance. So, I don't know, I got shivers when I listen to these two and the smiles on their faces and thinking about possibility that humans are going to be a part of this future. They're not. So let's not rush excitedly towards our extinction, please.